Welcome to another video in the Aspire Europe Competent Benefits Management series. This one, my colleague Geof Leigh, who is the Aspire Europe Assess Director, which means he leads all our maturity assessments, so he's got a wealth of experience of looking at organisations' benefits management maturity. It's going to talk about benefits myths and some of the common excuses that we hear for not doing benefits management. So, over to you, Geof.
There are a lot of myths, misunderstandings, and false knowledge surrounding benefit management. To be competent in benefits management, it is important that you are aware of these myths and why they are incorrect. In the next slides, we discuss 4 myths about benefit management. The first myth is that there are some benefits that can't be measured. This is wrong. All benefits can be measured, some more easily than others. If you have potential benefits where it is impractical to measure them, it's not advisable to include them in the business case. Benefits like productivity improvement can often be measured with reasonable precision. Others, such as improvements to a sector of society, may need something more holistic, like a survey, to measure them. When an organisation decides to invest in change, it should be to bring about an improvement for someone. The leadership in that organisation should believe that the value of that potential improvement is worth the investment. At the very beginning, the leadership should be asked, what will you need to see when changes are complete that will satisfy you that it was worthwhile? Their replies can sometimes be a little imprecise, such as an improvement in customer satisfaction. You need to determine what types of measure there are that could be used to satisfy the sponsor that their investment was worthwhile. For example, it might be that the sales and marketing function already have a customer survey method that can be used. Your job is to engage with the leadership to get an agreed benefit statement, such as, if using survey X, we can demonstrate a 20% or greater improvement in customer satisfaction, will that be an acceptable measure of success? Survey X then needs to be undertaken before any project start and during progress undertaken again to see if the designs for change are likely to work, and finally after transition. This is an oversimplified example, but hopefully it explains the point. The next myth is that if a benefit can't be measured financially, it shouldn't go into the business case. In 1914, Donaldson Brown developed a method for DuPont to demonstrate the gains from capital investment. This was called the return on investment. It was so successful that it was widely taught in business schools and adopted by many companies. In the early days of modern project management methods, many initiatives were capital projects, such as house building, new factories, etc. For these, financial measures are reasonably straightforward. So the use of proven return on investment calculations became the de facto way to measure benefits. In recent times, more organisations have tried to manage other types of initiatives, such as social change, which has meant that using financial measures for benefit gains was not always appropriate, or perhaps just too complex. Some organisations have forced the use of financial measures to get a business case approved. In some cases, the financial gains predicted have been rough estimates or just guesses. In such cases, the success of the initiative becomes subjective and a matter of opinion. It is critical to provide measures that are practical and acceptable to the sponsor. A simple example is, if an investment of X million pounds results in Y% fewer road deaths, is that an acceptable measure of success? I don't own any benefits, so I can just ignore them, is a common myth. Whatever your role, the work you do in a programme is likely to have some impact on the outputs, the outcomes, and the benefits. Benefit maps can help you understand this, and the relationship between your work and the benefit realization should be part of your role description. Your responsibility is more than just executing your tasks to an acceptable standard. You must also ensure that the results of your efforts can make the best contribution to benefits further down the line. You will need to engage with others at key points to verify that your work is on track to produce the necessary contribution to benefits. Milestones can be defined in your plan to show when such liaison needs to occur. Here's a simple example for a designer in a project in a program. A bad design might mean operational staff find it hard to improve. The designer should engage with operations during the design process to ask the critical question: if you get this, can you improve sufficiently? The designer then needs to engage with the builders to ensure that they understand not just the design, but how it is intended to enable improvements. The builders should engage with operations using mock-ups, prototypes, etc. and again ask the critical question: if you get this, can you improve sufficiently? The designer might need to be involved in these later activities, as the design might need to be refined. Engagements such as these need to continue until transition is complete and the changes embedded. The last myth in this module is don't worry about benefits until transition. If you have project experience, you might be familiar with the importance of making sure you understand the specification for what you're about to deliver at initiation and rechecking throughout the project lifecycle. What we're talking about here is an extension of that principle. The difference is you need to look beyond the delivery of the outputs to understand how they will be used to result in something being improved. That relationship needs to be reassessed at key points. Two well-known organizations developed continuous improvement methods, Toyota with TPS and General Electric with Six Sigma. A key part of the success of these methods is that operational staff are involved throughout the entire improvement process. Success is much more likely if you engage with operations, the customer, or whoever owns the benefits throughout most of the program and its project's life cycles. It's important you understand how benefits will be enabled to check the confidence that benefits realization will happen throughout the entire program life cycle. It's too late to check just at transition. Here are some examples of points when confidence can be checked. Draft designs can be reviewed with operations or customers. Prototypes can simulate new facilities, systems, etc. Pilot exercises can test the change on a small scale. In every case, this should be done with a focus on whether this will result in sufficient improvement to satisfy the sponsor.
Thanks a lot for that, Geof. And you guys out there, I'm sure it's time for a cup of coffee and to think about how you could use the information that Geof shared with you. We both hope you found it useful. So this is Rod Sowden, the Managing Director of Aspire Europe, signing off, and another thank you to Geof.